Imagine if everything you believed about happiness and success was upside down. What if the secret to a fulfilled life wasn't found in wealth, fame, or fleeting pleasures, but in ancient wisdom, quiet resilience, and mastery over your own mind? In a world that tells us to chase everything external, have we lost sight of our true power? What if, instead of struggling against the world, we learned to master ourselves, and, by doing so, found the strength to handle anything life throws our way? Now, here's the question: could ancient Stoic principles actually hold the keys to a life of calm and control in today's chaotic world? Forget the endless search for motivation or the constant pull of social media. Picture finding a source of strength within, one that allows you to stay grounded, make better decisions, and feel peace even in the face of setbacks. It's not about what happens to you, it's about how you respond, guided by timeless principles that shaped some of history's most influential minds. Stay with me, and you'll see why the wisdom of Chrysippus, Seneca, and others has endured for thousands of years, and how it might just transform the way you live today. Lesson 1. Logic as the foundation. Imagine a life where every decision you make is unshakable. Where each thought is sharp, deliberate, and aligned with a greater purpose. What if I told you that the path to such clarity begins with one powerful tool, logic? In ancient Greece, Chrysippus of Soli, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, saw logic not just as a skill, but as the foundation of a meaningful life. He believed that without logic, our lives would be ruled by impulse, by whims, by the chaos of emotions that rise and fall like unpredictable waves. So here's a question: are you in control of your thoughts? Or are they in control of you? Logic, Chrysippus argued, isn't just cold calculation. It's the gateway to freedom. Think about it: how many times have you acted on a feeling only to regret it later? Chrysippus saw these emotional reactions as obstacles to true wisdom, obstacles that cloud our understanding of reality. He believed that by training our minds to follow logic, we could cut through confusion, make wiser decisions, and ultimately lead a life in harmony with nature. But what does that look like in practice? How can we, today, follow Chrysippus' call to make logic our foundation? Lesson 2. Living according to nature. Imagine if every action you took felt naturally aligned, as if the universe itself were guiding your steps. What if life didn't have to feel like a constant battle, but rather a harmonious flow with the world around you? This was the vision Chrysippus of Soli had for human life, a life lived according to nature. But what does that mean? And how could following nature bring us closer to peace? Chrysippus believed that to live according to nature is to align ourselves with our rational mind, to find guidance not in fleeting emotions or desires but in the steady compass of reason. So, take a moment, think of the last time you felt conflicted. Was it because your heart was pulled in one direction and your mind in another? Chrysippus would say that conflict arises when we resist the natural order, when we let impulses drown out reason. He urged us to embrace the natural rhythms of life, to see our rational mind as part of the universal order, as fundamental as the flow of rivers or the cycle of seasons. What if we, too, could learn to flow with life's currents instead of fighting against them? Lesson 3. Acceptance of fate. Imagine that every event in your life, from joy to sorrow, is part of a larger story, a story where even the hardest moments have meaning. What if you could find peace, not by resisting what happens, but by embracing it as part of a greater plan? This was Chrysippus' profound teaching on fate. Chrysippus invites us to ask a powerful question: what if, instead of fighting what we cannot change, we surrendered to the flow of life? It doesn't mean we stop taking action, but we acknowledge a fundamental truth: some things are beyond our control. How would you react to your next disappointment if you believed, somehow, it was contributing to your growth? Chrysippus believed that true freedom comes when we accept fate with a serene heart. He called it amor fati, the love of fate. Imagine facing every event with this mindset, seeing even adversity as a chance to demonstrate strength and resilience. Could it be possible to find beauty even in the darkest chapters of our story? Picture the peace that comes from no longer struggling against the inevitable but instead welcoming whatever life brings. Lesson 4. Reason over emotions. Imagine a life where, instead of being pulled in every direction by intense emotions, your decisions are guided by an unshakable calm, a clarity that weathers any inner storm. What if there were a way to harness that mental strength to live more balanced and intentional lives? Chrysippus believed it was possible, but only through reason. He challenges us: how many times have you reacted impulsively, letting a fleeting emotion dictate your words or actions? And more importantly, how many times have you wished you could take it back? To Chrysippus, emotions are temporary, often deceptive, and have the power to pull us away from what truly matters. But reason? Reason is steady, like a compass, always pointing us toward true north, always guiding us toward what is virtuous. Imagine, then, a mind that, instead of being a slave to emotions, watches them from a distance, refusing to be controlled by them. It's an invitation to look inward and ask, are we living according to our values, or are we just reacting to whatever we feel in the moment? Chrysippus reminds us that it's possible to live with purpose, mastering our reactions rather than being mastered by them. Which life would you choose? One where emotions lead every step, or one where reason lights your path? Lesson 5. Unity of the universe. Imagine if, instead of seeing yourself as a single, isolated individual, you could see yourself as part of something greater, a vast, interconnected web that stretches across the universe. What if every action you took rippled outward, affecting others in ways you might never fully understand? This was Chrysippus' belief, that everything in the universe is connected, each part influencing the whole. He invites us to ask ourselves, do we really exist as separate beings? Or are we threads in a grand, universal tapestry, woven together by invisible forces? Chrysippus taught that every thought, every choice, every small act matters, for it is all part of a larger design. Just think, what might change if you saw your actions as essential to the fabric of the universe? He believed this unity meant we have a duty, not just to ourselves, but to the world around us. Imagine living each day with that sense of purpose, knowing that even the smallest gesture could contribute to the harmony of the universe. Would it change the way you treat others, the way you pursue your goals, the way you face challenges? Chrysippus' vision reminds us that we are not alone. We are bound together in a cosmic dance, each step affecting the rhythm of the whole. So, as you move through life, ask yourself, how will your actions resonate across this vast, interconnected universe? Lesson 6. The power of the mind. Imagine if, instead of being limited by what happens around you, you could control how you respond, maintaining calm and clarity regardless of the circumstances. What if you possessed an inner strength that nothing could shake? Chrysippus believed that each of us holds a powerful tool, our mind. He challenges us to think, how often do we let the outside world dictate our emotions and actions? What if, instead, we allowed our mind to be the guide, a beacon of reason in the midst of chaos? Chrysippus saw the mind as the key to true freedom, a space where we can find peace, no matter what happens around us. Picture yourself in the middle of a storm, whether literal or emotional, and yet remaining unshaken, secure in your inner strength. Chrysippus reminds us that even when we can't control what happens outside, we have full authority over how we choose to respond. What if that's the source of true freedom? Consider this: your power lies not in the things that happen to you, but in how you choose to handle them. Lesson 7. Ethics as self-discipline. Imagine a world where every decision you make is guided by an inner code, a compass that always points toward what is right. What if you had the ability to live a life of integrity and virtue, not because someone told you to, but because it's your choice? Chrysippus believed that true ethics are born from self-discipline. He challenges us to ask, who is truly responsible for our morality? Is it society? The laws? Or something deeper, something that comes from within? Chrysippus saw ethics as a daily practice, something you refine over a lifetime, like learning an art or a craft. For him, it wasn't about obeying rules but cultivating an inner strength that helps us act virtuously, even in the hardest situations. Imagine how your life could change if every action was done with intention and self-control, like an athlete training tirelessly or a musician perfecting their art. What if ethics were more than a list of rules? What if they were a reflection of who you truly are, of the discipline you bring to each choice? Chrysippus reminds us that true ethics is a journey, a constant practice of self-control and improvement. So, what kind of person are you choosing to become, a little more with each day? So, after hearing these powerful Stoic insights, ask yourself, are you ready to take control of your own life? Are you prepared to let go of excuses, to stop blaming what's outside of you, and instead harness the incredible strength within? Imagine the impact if you began to truly live each day by these principles. How much would your outlook change? How much more resilient, focused, and free would you feel? I'd love to know, what's one area of your life where you're ready to make this shift? Drop a comment below, let's start a conversation. And if you're serious about this journey, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss the next steps in mastering this ancient wisdom. For those of you wanting to dive even deeper, I recommend an incredible book, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, available at an affordable price on Amazon. While not written by Chrysippus, Meditations was profoundly influenced by his teachings and is one of the most practical guides to Stoic philosophy you'll find. Check the first pinned comment below for the link to grab your copy. Take this next step and discover what it truly means to master yourself. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.